everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2024 Genesis GV70 all-wheel drive. Now, yes, this is green, and yes, it is really mean. Let's go ahead and get started. We get started on the front, and yes, the first thing I'm gonna go ahead and address is this green color because it is spectacular. It looks like a British racing green, and man, it just shines so much in the sun. I love it. I don't know if I would pick another color just because this looks that damn good. So let's get started on some design elements. First, we go with the hood. We do have some kind of sculpting elements here on the hood, which look really nice. I love how the Genesis badge or the wing we have here just kind of molds that line there. So really cool on there. We do again have these kind of side elements here. One thing I kind of at first didn't like, but now I'm kind of liking a little bit, is the hood kind of comes over it, so it doesn't sit essentially flush with the bumper. It kind of covers or gives you the illusion of it covering the headlights here. So I don't know, I wasn't liking it at first, but now I'm kind of liking it because it kind of looks like an eyebrow to the headlights themselves. And speaking about the headlights, I love this design because we do have that kind of broken up design where we have two elements on the top and two elements on the bottom. Shine the road, really beautiful, no issues with that there. Then we get to the big crest grille, iconic with Genesis, which looks great. We kind of have this black chrome. It's a little bit more on the chrome side than black, but not compared to like GM's black chrome with the I believe it's the Escalade, or the Yukon Ultimate. This has a little bit more chrome to it than the black color, but it looks really good. Nice big opening for air because you're gonna need a lot of air for what's under that hood, which we'll get to next. We have this lower kind of lip down here, which looks great. It's in black. Great combination with this beautiful dark green. Did I mention how much I love this green? I really do. And we do have some closings here, but it does kind of redirect the air to the side here. Overall though, I love this front end. Oh, we also have front facing camera, which will help out with the 360-degree system to be able to park this guy fairly easily in the tightest of spots. But yeah, this just looks incredible. I love this front end. Let's go ahead and see what we have under this big hood. We get under the hood and we have the 3.5 liter twin turbocharged V6 cranking out 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to an 8-speed auto and then to the all-wheel drive system. Now, a couple of things with this. Let's start with the power delivery. It is very touchy. It just wants to go. It is actually pretty difficult to drive this thing slow because it's tempting at just a little bit of throttle input that you're gonna want to give it some go, which is why our MPGs have been really low. I think we did about 15 to 16, and according to Genesis, we're supposed to get 18 city, 24 highway. Yeah, just be aware of that. This is the first press car that I've had to fill up in a while. And again, it's just because it just wants you to drive it fast. The Eco, it's not really, dampening of the pedal input, so it is still gonna be pretty responsive. Sport and Comfort are pretty much like connected to the engine directly. There is like no hesitation. It's just really responsive, which is surprising for, a twin turbo engine, because typically you get lag, but you don't with this because the power, those 391 pound-feet of torque, comes in from 1300 RPM to 4500 RPM. Yeah, that is some really low in numbers and instant, almost instant torque, because usually idle about under 1,000. So that's pretty impressive for this engine. It sounds pretty decent, no real complaints there. The transmission though, the transmission is an 8-speed auto, and when you're driving normal, everyday driving street, you're fine. Shifts are smooth, they're quiet, no issues there. When you put it in sport mode and you start pushing it, it's overly aggressive to the point where it's just, think of it like if you're just trying, manual for the first time and you're going from first, really accelerating, then you go to shift to second, but you're not that good at shifting into second, so it takes you a little bit, and then when you get to second, it just kicks in. That's the response we get with this. So it's kind of this swaying that you get. It's kind of annoying, so just be aware of that's what's gonna happen. The all-wheel drive system though, it's good. It's really rear-wheel bias, so it delivers the power fairly well. No issues with feeling it, go from one to another, but overall, you get some really great performance. Let's go ahead and take a look at those wheels and tires. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have this beautiful looking 5-spoke 21-inch wheel, and it is wrapped in the 255/40 Michelin Primacy Tour all season. Now, a couple of things with this. First, the design, very classic 5-spoke design, but with a twist. Not a literal twist, but what makes it really give it character is the fact that it's not a flat face. It kind of has like a twist to it, kind of going into the wheel. And it has these kind of divots in here. So really nice design work to it. Again, very simple, classic 5-spoke wheel. But we also have this darker color. It is like a gunmetal chrome. So it's not a black chrome, but more of a gunmetal chrome. So it really stands out, again, with this beautiful green color. The other thing we have is the Michelin tires. Grip-wise, no issues with that. Performance, though, with everyday driving, that's where we have a little bit of a problem. So I feel like this tire doesn't have enough sidewall to really absorb some of the road. And paired with the suspension, it doesn't do a very good drivability aspect to it. What I mean by that is you hit a bump and you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it, but then it awkwardly tries to hide it with the suspension by being soft and then simultaneously being stiff. So it's kind of weird to describe. It's one of those things you kind of unfortunately have to feel, but everyday driving wasn't the most pleasurable. So just be aware of that. The brakes though, they're really good. Just be aware you're gonna need some more distance if you're pushing this guy, because the brakes are great, but it's still physics, come into play when you're dealing with such a large SUV. We do have the Genesis badging right in there on the caliper itself, but overall though, this looks great. Doesn't quite perform 100% how I'd like it. So yeah, let's go ahead and see what we have on the side. We get to the side and we can see this thing looks incredible in the side profile. This is just so nice. Couple of things, the proportions. So it kind of looks like it's kind of leaning its weight back, which is really nice. I kind of love the feel to it because that kind of gives us, as far as proportions, gives us a nice long hood. It gives us kind of a good sized middle and a little bit kind of a concentrated rear. But don't worry, you don't lose space back there, which we'll take a look at soon. But overall though, the proportions are really nice. We take a look at the wheels and on the side profile, and they look nice. Like that's kind of the only thing that I was conflicted about. Is I was thinking, okay, maybe go with a smaller wheel and taller tire, but I don't think it would look as good as it does here. I maybe get the tire just a little bit taller. Yeah, that would probably be my suggestion for that. But overall though, that looks great with the proportions of the side. We do have this beautiful line that just kind of carries from the hood all the way back and just kind of breaks up here to give you that little bit of framing. And we do have pretty big doors, no issues with, you know, getting in or out of it. We do have the colored mirrors with the camera underneath, which tie in when you go to switch lanes. It taps into that camera to show it on the gauge cluster, which I love. Black framing around with that black chrome that we have on the same front of the grille, which again, like I said, it's more on the chrome than the black. So it's a little bit of a darker chrome, which looks really good. We have roof rack rails here, so you are able to put some toys above with no issue. And this is probably one of my favorite things. This little tiny rear window or glass looks really nice in the shape that it has. But overall though, this green just looks so good. Now, as far as keyless entry, I don't have the key with me because with the Genesis, when you get near it, it'll start to kind of notice that you are ready to unlock it. So let me go grab the key from off camera. I have the keys in my pocket, and as soon as I get next to the Genesis, we can see it does that to the mirror, which recognizes the key is nearby. Another thing I want to mention about this mirror is it does have an auto dim option, which was really great in this, especially here in more rural Texas, where everyone decides to turn on their high beams, even though they're behind a vehicle or they have a lifted truck that wasn't correctly adjusted their headlights to compensate for that. So this was actually great. So if you live in scenarios like that, get that option because it's going to make a world of a difference both here and the mirror on the inside. But yeah, so keys in my pocket, I go ahead and press and it unlocks. I can go ahead and open up and I'm good to go. Really big door, really easy to get in as well. So I can go ahead and close that off and I go to the back and yeah, it doesn't unlock. So even if I do this, it's still kind of not doing that. So you kind of have to use your key fob because if you do that, now it unlocks. So just be aware of that. Kind of awkward. Check the menus, couldn't find anything. So if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments and we'll pin it and correct my experience. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have in the back. We get to the back and this thing looks really nice. There's a lot of Porsche influence, I would say, when it comes to the rear of the GV70. So a couple of things first. We have this kind of spoiler that comes out here. I love the way that we have the third brake light up here. It's also not just a straight line. Not sure why, but that little dip we get there really adds to a little bit more of that why not design with Genesis. So we have a nice big rear window as well, or glass. There's no issues with visibility in this. I wasn't complaining, wasn't having any issue. We do have the rear wiper. Yeah, I sometimes don't like rear wipers, but in this case, it's necessary because that's where they have the button to open up the actual trunk area. The taillights. The taillights to this are beautiful. I love the split that we get with this. They look really nice. I just love this design. Again, we have the big Genesis badging, some plastic down here. Yes, we have closed areas here. And the exhaust, they are not true 100%, but the piping does go right up to the edge of this, but it's not that big of an opening. It still looks great though. So Genesis, I'll give you a pass for the fake exhaust things, but yeah, this is a nice rear to the GV70. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside. Opening this tailgate is a little bit cool. So one thing is you have that option to push the button there, but when you get close to it with the key fob, again, I didn't have to press the key fob, it goes ahead and opens it up. So now you have the option of having the tailgate automatically open once it senses you're behind it with the key fob, and there is a lot of space back here. That's one of the things I really love about the Genesis. We do have that good amount of space, just some clothes here, and we do have the little option down here for a little bit more storage, not too much on there. But we also have a spare tire here. It is a kind of a bigger donut, but it still is a donut on there. I love that it's covered here, so you could still use this for storage and not get your stuff dirty. So if I wanted to put those shirts in here, I wouldn't have a problem with it getting dirty. We do have a scissor jack there as well, which is a nice little touch. So we go ahead, we do that, close that. We do have, this one doesn't specifically have it, but you have the cover in the back. We have the little slots there, but we also have for the front seats, we can put them down. So I'll go ahead and put down this side because I have my kid's seat on the other. And now you have a ton more space to put all your needs, all your things back here. You get inside of the GV70 and this thing is so nice. There's a lot of great things. So let's go ahead and check it out. We take a look at the door, and the door is really nice. The finish to these things are incredible. The different material selection all work in great harmony. I love the way that this looks and feels. So there's a couple of really nice highlights to this. Again, we have that kind of finish at the top that's kind of like that leather feel to it. We have beautiful stitching. We have this kind of brushed aluminum look to it. Really, really nice. We have the speaker system from Lexicon, which is incredible. You're probably wondering, well, I've never heard of Lexicon, but you have. So they build a lot of reverb units for recording studios. So you'll definitely have heard some of their reverbs in some of your favorite songs. So we have that. And then we have the two memories for your seat position. And we have the window switches up here, but my favorite is the kids lock. So we do have that option here. I don't have to get out of my seat, go to his door, turn it on. I can just do it here, and then once we've parked, I can go ahead and turn it off, say, hey, you can get out, and then once we're driving, I can go ahead and activate it. One of my favorite small details, but really, really nice to have. Then we have this nice carbon fiber look to it as well, which we'll see it also inside. It's such a small thing, but man, it looks so nice. And then we have an area for a water bottle here. You're gonna wanna go a little bit on the slimmer to long side for that. And then again, we have a mid-range speaker, and then we have a woofer speaker here. We get to the seats, and this is just spectacular. This is really just an incredible looking seat. It is an incredible feeling seat. So I am loving this thing. So first, the material. This headrest is so soft. I love the feel to it. I've positioned it so that it's just perfectly my headrest here, and it's like a little angel's hand just waiting for your head to rest on it. It's really, really good. I love that. And then we have the seat itself, really soft leather, high-end materials. You could feel it. You could just see it. I mean, you could see it. It's a really nice finish to it. We do have heated option as well as vented option in this. And one more thing. Yes, we do have massage as well. It's not like super wow like some other vehicles that I've experienced it in, but it's really, really good. Finding the sweet spot wasn't an issue, so loving that. And overall though, these seats are just incredible. One of my favorite things with some Genesis vehicles is, let's say you have a kid in the back and you need to give them more legroom, or you have a rear passenger and they need more legroom and they're not in the front. You're able to move this guy, or you just need to move it. Whatever the issue may be or the reason may be, you have the function to move this right from the driver's seat. And again, you can recline it as well if you just need that little bit of extra, especially like for my kid where he's getting tall and he's like, hey mom, I need some space. So if mom isn't in the car to move her own seat, I can move it for him without having to get out of the car and go to the other side. So small little detail, but when you have it, it's so great. When you don't, you're gonna miss it. We take a look at the steering wheel, and this thing is really nice. I do love a lot of things about the GV70's steering wheel. So the first thing is the materials. So we do have a dimpled leather on the sides, which looks really nice and feels really, really great. And then we have the softer leather above and below. Of course, we have some really nice white stitching on here, as well as on the airbag little area on and the horn area as well. So really nice design aspects to it. It is a heated wheel, so when it decides to be cold, you'll be able to make sure that your hands are nice and warm. On the left hand side here, we do have controls for your volume and for your next track, and the kind of the phone voice kind of situation. We have a favorite button that we can program in case you want to program this for like media or map, whatever the case it is. It's really cool that you have a quick button that you can program. It's always nice to have that flexibility. And then on the right hand side, we have the menu button for the gauge cluster, as well as the cruise control and kind of lane keep assist and gauge cluster buttons as well. So yeah, really nice. Ergonomically feels really good. Oh, and we have the paddle shifters. Yeah, so we have the paddle shifters on the sides, which I can tell you are pretty big. So they're definitely pretty big and pretty comfortable to be able to shift the gears in this. But overall though, definitely a big fan of this steering wheel. We take a look at the gauge cluster, and one of my favorite things about this, first of all, it looks beautiful, but a really cool feature that it has is the 3D cluster view. Now, not sure, it's on right now, not sure if you guys will be able to see it too much, but that it does kind of make it look brighter on the screen when I turn it off. But I can tell you it's just because it's showing this cool depth to it. So the middle kind of goes dimmer and it looks like it's further out. It's so difficult to capture on camera, but I can tell you it is such a cool design to it because everything just kind of looks like it's sinking in, and the important things like the numbers are really like sticking out. So love that. That's probably one of my favorite things. But yeah, we have the different options that we can see. So we have kind of like your lane assist information, your compass, your power distribution. We also have the options to select kind of what things you want it to have there. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Nothing super wow, except that I've been in this, and it's nice to see that the power distribution is actually very rear wheel bias, and it feels like it too. So really cool to see it there. I've pretty much been in this. Probably my favorite thing is when you do switch your drive modes, we are getting different views to the gauge cluster. So really cool. Love the fact that we have that. Just kind of adds a little bit more to it. But pretty much that's the gauge cluster. Oh, and of course, my favorite, when you put the turn signal on, it turns that on. And then when you turn the other turn signal, it does that. This has been incredible. I love it. It's such a great system. It's so smart to just tap into the existing cameras that the car already has and just essentially broadcast them here. And it looks really clear even day or night to make sure that you're safely switching lanes. We get over to the infotainment screen, and this thing is slim but really long. I love the look to it. It is super clear, it is super bright, and it works really well. Except this doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay. And on top of that, when we connected our USB cable, that is third party, it's not an Apple charger, it's not an Apple cable, it said we had to use an approved USB cable. So not only are we out of using the wireless Apple CarPlay because it doesn't have the function, we now have to spend significantly more amount of money to get the Apple branded cable to use with this system to use Apple CarPlay. So that was a big, like, what is going on? And it's not a cheap one. It's definitely a Belkin cable. We also tried an Anchor cable, and it didn't work. I don't know why, but because those are very popular third parties. So it wasn't a no-name brand cable. So I was definitely confused as to why that wasn't working. So yeah, kind of a shame though, because I really wanted to use Apple CarPlay. With that being said though, we are using just kind of the Bluetooth function of it, and it's not too bad. So we're just using regular Bluetooth on there, no issues there. We were using the maps option on the built-in system, and it was really good. I was surprised at how good the map was. Overall though, yeah, I mean, that's really where we've been. In all these other things you can access via different menus as well, with the quick buttons, which I really like, which again, we'll just kind of see the seats. And yeah, really, the screen is pretty responsive. I love the way that it works. I love the way that it looks, super bright, and yeah, pretty impressive. We come down to the climate controls, and they're pretty nice. I love the look to it. I love the simplicity to it. So they're very easy to obviously select the items that you want. Their auto is spectacular. So actually, it's kind of on the cool, warm side. So I'm gonna cool with the seats. So the only thing, again, it's super simple, very direct, very beautiful looking, but it is so reflective. You could see what I'm actually seeing in camera is pretty much what you'll experience in person. And when I go like this, you're definitely seeing that these buttons will be difficult to view once the sun hits it. I was having issues with kind of, getting the recirculating button activated because I couldn't see where it was on this kind of triangle of selection there. So that's the only thing right now, that the sun is being blocked by some clouds. You can see it's a little bit better, but that's kind of the only thing. It's such a reflective surface, but the responsiveness to it is extremely good. Like I'm literally just pushing the different buttons, and it's like buttons, but not buttons. They're screen, and you'll feel the haptic of it. But I am super impressed with how responsive it is, and yeah, no complaints there. My favorite thing though is definitely these buttons. So they are a little bit difficult to see as well when there is a lot of light or at nighttime and they're not super illuminated. So we have the options for the map, navigation, your favorite, again, another different favorite that you can program, radio, media, and setup. So they are really quick to just kind of like, if I want to go to the radio, I can see it goes straight to that. I can go to media, which will go to my phone. Setup will go to the different settings. So I love it. I love the way that this works because you can get that option. And I don't know what the favorite for this is. Oh yeah. So you can see, like I mentioned, you can see the different favorites that you can put on for the favorite custom button. We come down and we have a couple of buttons in this first group. We have your parking assist right there, your alerts, and we have the drive mode switch there and the parking cameras. So if we go ahead and we press that camera button, we're gonna see we have the option of seeing the 360-degree system as well as a selected camera. So we have that. We have kind of the top-down view, we have the regular kind of view, and then we have the tire view as well, which is really nice, especially with my driveway that's not the biggest, so I always kind of want to get as close as possible to the edge of the concrete. So that's pretty nice. And then we have obviously the 360, which is really cool on there. The only thing is it makes kind of the car next to you look ginormous compared to your own car. Yeah, so just a little quirks there. But overall though, it is a really nice system. I do love it. No complaints with activating it. So I do love the fact that we have that quick button there. So it's easy to just bring up and I'm not having to go through multiple menus or even touch the screen. So love that. Then we come back down to the volume button. So we have kind of that cheese grater that I like to call, as well as the tune on the right side. And then we have the back, home, and menu. Love these buttons. Again, they're just really quick to get you through the user interface of the Genesis. So really big fan. And what I love about it is that there are a lot of buttons, but they're pretty simple to get to. They're very necessary buttons is what I would say, because again, yeah, there's a difference between going back and then home. So yeah, it's not just about going back one level. You want to completely get out of there and go to the home screen. You have that function there. So really loving that. And then we have the knob, which has been really great. Just a matter of turning it, and you can also use it as the option to just kind of like a joystick. And then, like I said, you can also scribble on this to write down whatever you're wanting to search in the navigation. So love that, love the feel to it. The kind of tactile click to it is really nice to it as well. We come back a little bit more and we have the gear selector. So it is as a knob, it does light up. It's really nice, really easy to just kind of throw it into whatever gear you're wanting to get it into. So yeah, everything's like, wait, you're going reverse, you're going forward. So yeah, so it really good. Auto hold, yes, thank you. You press it once and it stays. So I haven't needed to, every single time I turn on the car, I have to press it. So it's automatically engaged, which I really, really love on there. One little detail as well is we have this really cool carbon fiber look to it. It's a little tough to see the pattern, but yeah, this is, you can probably see it right there, yeah. But it is a really nice touch to how this really Genesis is just giving you that sporty feel to it. On the right hand side, we have the charging area for your devices. So we do have two USB-A ports and the wireless charger, which is actually right here. So we're gonna go ahead and do the chuck test. So we'll just kind of throw that in there. Is it gonna work? Yes, it is working. So this passes my chuck test because it is really good. I haven't had any issues with this charger. It's been charging all my devices, which is what infuriates me even more, that we don't have a wireless Apple CarPlay function. If we had that, this would be such a better experience with the GV70. So I love the fact that we have a great wireless charger that is charging, easy to literally just throw it in. I'll go ahead and disconnect this, and literally I can just kind of close that off, and out of sight, out of mind, except I don't have Apple wireless CarPlay. Then a little bit back, we have the cup holders, which are really good. We were able to put really big cups in here. No issues with that. Was able to have a good amount of spacing between them, so they're not just kind of hitting each other and cause a spill. So no issues there. Really thumbs up for that, because they were nice and simple. We take a look at the armrest, and it's really comfortable. It actually, where I lay my arm on, it puts it perfectly for my hand to be on the kind of dial knob for the infotainment screen. So I do love that placement on there. It's super soft, no issues with that. And when I go to open it up, it's got some space to it. It's not like super wow with a ton of space, but you can probably get a tissue box in there with no problem. But overall though, it is a super comfortable armrest with that nice leather feel to it. We get to the back, and the back door has a little bit of an extra thing that the front doesn't, for obvious reasons. But we have this screen back here, which is nice. It's actually really, really good, because my wife was filming the car and I was trying to look where she was. And as you can see, it's very difficult to see what's inside. Even if so you literally have to put your face to the glass in order to see anyone that's in the back. So it's nice to have that privacy screen. It also is great for the son. So if you have kiddos, you want to go ahead and have them have that there. It's really nice look to it. And then we also have the great finishes that we had in the front door with the speaker. In this case, we have two back here, the tweeter and the woofer down here. But yeah, so really nice again with everything. Then the seats, again, really nice, beautiful. We have the heated option in the rear with these, and like my son likes to say, the hidden cup holders we have there. We have his booster seat, no issues with him there. Just be aware that if you do have a wide kind of booster seat, it's going to be a little tough for them to buckle in, because these base areas aren't really that wide. But other than that though, we have their own climate control systems here with like I said, the heated option, and then the charging option down there. But overall though, really loving the back, a lot of space, still as luxurious as the front. We go for a ride in the GV70, and it's a couple of fun but kind of weird characteristics to this big SUV. So the first thing is the ride quality. It is pretty relaxing, but it's weirdly still not relaxing. What I mean by that is because the sidewalls are a little bit on the smaller side for the wheels, you kind of feel everything on the road in probably not the best way. Like sometimes it does kind of jolt a little bit when you hit maybe a smaller pothole. The other thing though is that when you hit something a little bit bigger, the front suspension is a little on the soft side, but then goes a little stiff. Yeah, it's kind of a weird feel to it. When you're even in comfort mode, it just, you know, kind of sways a little bit, but then it just kind of tightens up. And then sometimes it does the opposite, where it'll be kind of tight on the feel and then it just kind of sways. So yeah, I'm a little confused at how that, yeah, you see there it's stiff and then it kind of bounced a little bit. So I'm a little confused at how this suspension is tuned. And I've tried in eco mode, I've tried in comfort mode, I've tried in sport mode as well, and I'm still kind of getting that weird alternative, alternating feel to that suspension. The steering feels great. It's, you know, nice and kind of heavy on the side of things, which is good. A lot of times when it's a little bit on the heavier side, it's easy to just kind of keep straight and it won't have you needing to constantly micro adjust. So no issues there. The other thing that's kind of a little bit on the kind of touchy side is the pedal as well. The responsiveness is, again, very similar to the suspension, where eco mode isn't really eco. It's still pretty damn responsive and not what I want. And the reason why is because this thing wants to shoot like a bat out of hell. So it's actually a pretty difficult vehicle or SUV to drive calmly. Yeah. So it's wanting to just go. I wonder if the smaller engine would probably be better, because again, it's not going to have as much power and not be as responsive or as kind of jolting when you give it some gas or when you just want to give it a little bit of gas. So I wonder if that's probably the better drivability vehicle. But when you're wanting to have fun, this is definitely the better option, significantly the better option, because it's got a lot of great fun power. So let's go ahead and hit some fun turns here. So I'll go ahead and switch it over to sport mode. So we do have sport and we have sport plus. Sport plus does take away traction control. I'm not 100% confident in this vehicle yet. More on me more than the vehicle. So yeah, let's go ahead and yeah. So it does kind of feel, yeah, it does feel heavy. I'm not gonna lie or sugarcoat about it. It is a fairly heavy feeling vehicle when you try to push it to the corners. Now the brakes though, the brakes can get really nice feedback, but it's still a very heavy vehicle. So just be aware that when you get on it, it wants to really go though. And yeah, make sure you give yourself some space if you're having a spirited drive, because it will want to, wash away on you as far as the brakes go. So, and it's just because of the weight. Not that the brakes are bad, because they feel really, really good. You just have to take into account the extra weight. But the responsiveness is good. The transmission shifts aren't 100%. So they do feel, when you are in sport mode, they feel very like gunk, very aggressive, and probably not the best feeling. It feels clunky aggressive as opposed to just kind of sports car aggressive and just kind of, yeah, because it kind of has this like sway back and forth of like, yeah, think of it like if you're driving a manual, you go first gear, you go to shift to second, slight delay, and then you hit second really hard. That's exactly what this is doing. It's kind of giving you that weird kickback afterwards. So just be aware of that. So let's go ahead and see how we do with the 3-point stop. We'll go a little bit wide there, and we'll drop a wheel a little bit. This is a tight corner or tight road, not very narrow, not very wide, but it didn't do too bad. It actually did pretty damn good. So let's go ahead and we will put it in sport mode. We're still in sport mode. We'll load up and go. Again, you can kind of see my jolts. Yeah, those jolts are the transmission shifting, because it is not, again, not the smoothest and not the sharpest for performance. When you're in eco mode though, it is really fine. There's no issues with it. It performs the way that it should. You know, doing the shifts from gear to gear with no problem. But when you get it really into more of a performance aspect of things, you're gonna kind of feel awkward with those shifts. But overall, though, the grip is actually pretty good. Dare I attempt? Let's give it a try without traction control on. See how that responds. Oh, yeah, that was kind of awkward. The suspension, or really the power, when the gear shifted, was kind of even more aggressive when I had it in Sport Plus. So I'll probably keep it in sport mode. Not sure it's because it was trying to transfer power to the gear, to the right wheel, but yeah, it's kind of a little weird. But like I said, for everyday driving, and I've had to have this in eco mode, again, just to kind of give me the more not responsive throttle, because even if you give it a little bit, it's just like, once you get to about 2,500 RPMs, it's like, boom, it just like wants to go. So yeah, from a stop, the other thing as well, so yeah, brakes, like I said, are pretty good. From a stop, this is something my wife saw as well. If I'm stopped, auto hold is on, so my foot is kind of off both pedals, and car is off with the auto off kind of thing to save power. If I put a little bit of gas, it does kind of give you a bit of a kick. It gives you a bit of a kick to kind of go, so you have to really ease it in so that it starts the car and then it lets go, and obviously it lets go of the auto hold, but it's in a very aggressive way. This is a very aggressive SUV. That's why, like I said, it really wants to be driven fast. It prefers to be driven fast. So if you don't mind speeding tickets, I think you're good. If you're in a lot of stop and go traffic, you may want to turn some things off, like auto start stop and or the auto hold. I'm a fan of auto hold, so I'll sacrifice a little bit of it. The auto start stop, I've kept it on because this thing has consumed a ton of gas, because again, it just wants you to go fast in it. So it's causing me, yes, it's forcing me to go fast. But overall though, this has been a pretty impressive feel. I mean, it's so comfortable having the massage. You know what? I'm gonna turn on the massage to enjoy it right now. Let's go put whole body. The seat is fine. The visibility is not bad. I do get a little bit of a glare from the heads-up display. Heads-up display could do a little bit more work, maybe some fun things when you're in sport mode. Just everyday little things, really. The technology of the cameras to use when you're using your turn signals makes the drive better. But again, it just really likes to be driven fast. So if you're looking for something comfortable and easy to drive on, you know, maybe long road trips, this may not be it. If you're wanting to have fun though and drive like a bat out of hell, this is what you're gonna want to get. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the 2024 Genesis GV70, and remember, find the right gear. See ya.